the all-American town right here in Arizona.
The town of Clarkdale is quaint and charming. Its downtown is only 1 block, but it's full of art, history, restaurants, al fresco dining, and nightlife.
Storybook Arizona, right?
And then there is the natural beauty that surrounds and winds through the town. Mingus Mountain, National Forest, and the Verde River. The Verde Canyon Railroad takes off from the Clarkdale train station. It is known as Arizona's longest running nature show. You can see some of our state's most lush wilderness, red rocks, canyons, and elusive wildlife. There is even a national monument within the town limits. Then, there is the picture-perfect setting of the Southwest Wine Center, where Yavapai Community College hosts its viticulture program, and a tasting room where you can enjoy the award-winning fruits of their labor.
The whole Verde Valley has just taken off with the wine industry. Just in Clarkdale alone, we have 4 wineries that you could go to. They all have amazing patios with views you can sit out on.
If you're headed up from Phoenix or southern Arizona, jump on I-17 north to State Route 260 at Camp Verde. Then continue on 89A past a few roundabouts.
Clarkdale is definitely on the map. The way I look at Clarkdale is we're perfectly centered, 10 minutes from Jerome. Cottonwood's 3 miles away, Sedona's 20 minutes.
And we're excited to start exploring.
So just a little river orientation. That's the river right, this is the river left. That's upstream, that's downstream. We always point to right and left as if we're facing downstream.
Clarkdale Kayak Company is different from most rental companies.
Proper paddle grip is knuckles facing, lined up with the blade, and the proper grip width is when you put your paddle on top of your head, you want to make a 90-degree right here with your elbow.
They first teach you how to kayak, then give certified guided trips down the Verde River.
You're going to experience a lot of what we call chutes, just sort of fast-moving water, similar to maybe a water slide even, and certainly as safe. And then we will experience some Class 2 rapids, which add a little bit more technicality, but they're still very safe. So beginner level all the way up to expert paddlers love this stretch of river because it's safe enough for beginning paddlers, but it's beautiful enough and accessible enough for even the most extreme kayakers.
Scott Buckley owns Clarkdale Kayak Company and has led some of Arizona's most scenic and exciting adventures.
I started out in college guiding Grand Canyon River trips, also up in Glen Canyon, from Glen Canyon Dam down to Lee's Ferry, guided Jeep tours up in Sedona, backpacking in Grand Canyon. So it's really sort of a passion of mine.
You meet up at the Main Street Cafe in downtown Clarkdale. Then Scott and his guides drive you down to the river.
The trip starts here at Lower Tapco, which is actually a historic site. It's the original Arizona Power Company. We're in the riparian zone. This houses 75% of our biology in the state of Arizona, but makes up less than 2% of our land mass. So it's a really unique forest, actually one of the rarest forms of forest in the world. Our tour lasts about 2.5 hours from start to finish, so ample time, floating around in tranquil pools and running rapids, and we typically stop and take a swim break and a lot of super soaker breaks.
As you pass the cottonwood and willow forest, the river winds you towards what's left of an ancient civilization.
If you look up to the left, you get a nice view of our Sonogwan ruin. It's about 900 years old. It's a culture that lived in this area that were farmers. They grew corn, beans, squash, and a little bit of cotton. And they all but deserted this area before any European settlers arrived. We focus a lot on the history of Clarkdale, the mining history, the history of the ancient Sonogwan culture, and a tour of the riparian zone here along the Verde River. So this is our slag pile. A bit of mining history here in Clarkdale. Remnants of ore mined up from a mine in Jerome and brought down to Clarkdale by rail cart. The ore was heated up to 3,700 degrees by coal furnaces, and it went into molten form, and it separated the different heavy metals. And they would take the copper, gold, and silver off the bottom and dump out the remaining liquid, which turned into slag. And they say it still has about a ½ ounce of gold per ton. There's 20 million tons of slag. That equates to about $17 billion in gold left in this slag pile.
This mountain is just too costly to mine, both financially and environmentally. It's now just a reminder of Clarkdale's once booming industry.
What are you yelling at up there?
A little chilly in the winter, in the upper 40s. Springtime, we're around the 60s. In the summer, it'll warm up to the mid 70s.
The Verde River is full of surprises, especially for our out-of-state visitors.
They're in awe of the beauty of the river. Seeing a river running through the desert is not what a lot of people are used to. Just absolutely blows people away. Now everybody put your paddles up over your heads. Good one. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bonjour! This little red caboose is a true slice of Parisian life.
Violette.
An authentic French and Belgian cafe parked on Main Street in downtown Clarkdale.
I particularly studied French and Belgian cooking because I love it. I have French relatives, French DNA, and I thought it would be so cool to learn the authentic ways to do things. I got a birthday present, $50 from a family member, and we had just adopted our oldest, and I wanted to do something from home so that I could be home to integrate him into our family. And I thought, well, I could sell pastries. So I bought flour, like a 50-pound bag of flour, butter, sugar, and I already had salt at home, and started baking for the neighborhood. Arizona has a cottage law, and I baked everything from my house and sold it at the gift shop that was actually in this caboose. And I had a little case, and I'd show up every morning and sell, just in the mornings, you know, sell my stuff and sell coffee from in there. And I got a following, and the following kept getting bigger and bigger that I started putting chairs and tables out. The gift shop owner decided to retire, and I asked the owner of the caboose if I can put a kitchen in there. And a lot of people were like, you can't put a kitchen in there, that's not gonna work. And I was like, yes, I can. So I put a kitchen in there, my brother helped me, and it's been caboose ever since. I took a trip to Paris just a couple years ago to even make everything on my menu more authentic, and the ambiance and the music. I wanted that whole Parisian vibe. We roll our croissants from scratch every morning. They take 2 days to make. We do brioche, hand kneaded, 30 minutes. We really stick to old traditional ways of doing things. So the Belgian waffles were a waffle that I actually wrote the recipe for my children, and we knew we had something. They're just so good. They're crispy on the outside, and they're moist and tender on the inside, and we just feel like they're such a good waffle that we had to make them part of our menu.
Amber even went to Antwerp to take a class to perfect her recipe. But it was in Paris where she had the best thing she ever ate.
I was at a brasserie in Marais, Paris, and I had sat down, ordered a beer and a croque monsieur. And I took one bite and I was like, oh my goodness. The owner of the brasserie, who spoke broken English, came up to me and said, hey, do you like everything? Is everything good? Is everything good? And I was like, oh, it's so good. I have a cafe in Arizona and I would love to put this on my menu. So he went into the back kitchen and told his chef, and I honestly didn't think that they would ever allow me into their kitchen. But he brought me right back in there, and the chef was so sweet and kind, and I got to learn the authentic way to do the croque madame and croque monsieur. The madame is the one with the egg on the top.
As soon as she got back, Amber rewrote her menu, adding her new French discoveries.
So it's kind of a crazy time for us.
To me, the food is absolutely delicious and unique for the area, and authentic if you want to think about French food and European food. When I came the first time to the bakery, I had one of my favorite desserts, which was a raspberry tart. I didn't know if it was going to be authentic taste. I had it, and I looked at Amber. She was quite nervous because I was French. And I look at her and say, oh my, it's like I went back to my childhood. It was so delicious. To me, as a European, it's a village. It's not really a town, it's a village, it's quiet. It reminds me of Provence, the southeast of France, where you go to a cafe, you sit outside on the terrace, you enjoy your food, and you enjoy the slow pace of life.
Arizona Highways TV is brought to you by APS, making every day brighter, and the Arizona Office of Tourism. Wrapped in windows and awash in natural light, the rooms of the Park Hotel in downtown Clarkdale couldn't be more inviting.
Right now we have 8 rooms. When you enter the room, I feel like, of course, the brick is your main focus. You see that beautiful brick wall. They each have a kitchenette, just a beautiful boutique feel to them. They're very bright, comfortable. I feel like they kind of bring out the best of the old and the new. They're just great views of Mingus Mountain and our town park right across the street. So I'm pretty proud of our rooms.
Each room has a king-size bed along with splashes of copper that echo the town's rich mining history. Clarkdale was originally a planned community built by William A. Clark for his United Verde Copper Company.
He actually had the housing built and these buildings structures that we have here now for all the staff and employees that work at the smelter. Our building was actually built in 1915. It started off as an undertaker. We're sitting right here where the undertaker parlor was, and he had an embalming room and a chapel. It's been a hardware store, and it's been a laundromat. Lindner Motors actually had a showroom for Oldsmobiles and Chevrolet cars. We actually thought about naming our hotel the Undertaker Inn instead of Park Hotel. But we didn't want to follow that ghost avenue. We just figured, you know, everything's been really nice to us and we haven't noticed anything scary, so I've been respectful to them. So we went with Park Hotel and they've been happy so far. Nobody's bothered me, so. My husband and I, we purchased this building about 5 years ago. My husband said, "Are you ready, hon, to go on an adventure?" And I said, "Let's do it." So we sold our home, we moved into the building, and we just went to town and started renovating and worked for several years, a good 2 years on this project. My husband is actually a general contractor. He does commercial buildings and industrial. And so basically I was the cheap labor. And since we lived in the building, we worked day and night. You know, we went to bed late and we did most of it ourselves. Like, for instance, the brick right behind me, I exposed that brick. It was 3/4 inch plaster over the top of that. So I started with that wall and I said, "Honey, we're doing the whole building." So we did the whole building and upstairs in every hotel room. The exterior wall we exposed with the brick as well. So yeah, ceiling tiles, we did it all.
Rebecca tells us it was important for her and her husband to keep the building's authenticity. In the lobby, you can still see the wood ends from the old mezzanine.
We saved all that wood, planed it down, and we made our tables that are in the brewery today. And we saved wood from the office space, and we used that as our bar back in the brewery. Just anything that we could reuse, we definitely did.
The Smelter Town Brewery was the second part of their renovation project. So now that we've checked in, let's go check it out.
In the brewery, we tried to bring in a lot of history from the smelter. We have great pictures. We actually have metal pieces, just cool things about the history of the smelter. And the best thing was the railroad track that we brought in for the footrest under the bar.
Like those touches of history, the beers here at Smelter Town Brewery reflect the Clarkdale community.
Clarkdale is famous for its smelting of copper ore mined in Jerome, and so what we try to do is relate the beer names to the history of the area. We really wanted to relate the name of the beer to the specific style. So for instance, our Mexican lager is named Cobre, and Cobre means copper in Spanish. A new school beer that we do is the Milkshake IPA. We call it the Modern Miner, and so it's new school, so modern kind of plays with that a little bit. What makes a milkshake IPA unique is the fact that you brew it with lactose sugars and other adjuncts like spices and fruits. Ours is a vanilla milkshake IPA, and it's super creamy, very subtle, not overly hoppy, not overly sweet, but just right. It's a scoop of ice cream in a beer, if you will. Our biggest hit thus far is the Hop Deposits Hazy IPA. It's our best seller, and it's just a super popular subcategory of an American IPA. Really juicy and fruit forward. Ours is full bodied with a lot of citrus and hop character.
Head brewer Tim Godin says he likes brewing styles you might not find elsewhere in the Verde Valley, like smoothie sours and beer seltzers.
Sour beer is a beer that is deliberately soured or made tart using acidity. Smoothie sour is a subcategory of a sour beer where you add a boatload of fruit puree and other adjuncts like spices and vanilla, for instance. A hard seltzer is an alcoholic carbonated water, and it's really light and refreshing, low in calories, gluten-free, and great in the summer months here in Arizona.
Tim ferments sugar water with a wine yeast inside the beer tanks.
It gives it this wine-like quality. It's really crisp and refreshing. It's easy.
The Verde Valley may be known for its wine, but Smelter Town Brewery is confident they can stack up.
I think that we've started off on the good foot. We've created a reputation for ourselves. We believe that craft beer in Clarkdale is going to take off.
So I'm going to punch down the Sierra Bonita Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. This is about 30% whole cluster. We use whole cluster to get a little sweetness and tannin and spice from the stems. It's a really good way to add a depth of mid-palate.
It's a sunny Sunday morning in Clarkdale, a couple of hours before the tasting room at Chateau Tumbleweed opens.
This is about 5 days into its fermenting process. The conversion is happening, and you can really start to get hints of what the nose is going to be like.
Chris Potier and her husband Joe Béchard are busy punching grapes, steaming oak caskets, and preparing to barrel the latest harvest. Chris and Joe, along with another couple, started this winery and tasting room in 2015, years after first moving to Arizona from Oregon.
I came here with Chris fresh out of college with my journalism degree and came to write for a local newspaper here in the Verde Valley.
That's when they say they sort of fell backwards into the winemaking business.
None of us intended to work in wine. None of us intended to be in Arizona.
And I had never heard of Arizona wine, didn't know anything about it, and was really curious.
A year later, Joe started working up the road at Page Springs Cellars, essentially putting a cork in his journalism career.
Once I started to get to see Arizona wine, I really fell in love with it, and I really believe in the wines here, and they're the kind of wines that I like to drink.
We all walked into the industry in a time where there weren't very many people involved, so we were given badges to do things that otherwise people would clamor for or go to school for, so we learned on the job.
After about 15 years of on-the-job training, Chris and Joe, along with their partners, decided to go their own way.
You know, it's kind of our own little project. We get to finally say what we wanted to say about Arizona wine and do it in a way that we wanted to do it.
Chateau Tumbleweed has gone from making 2,000 cases to 5,000 a year, and they now work with a dozen vineyards in 3 counties.
That's one thing that's kind of unique about Chateau Tumbleweed is we don't have our own vineyards, so we're sourcing a lot of fruit. And what we've decided to do is kind of make it educational and exciting and go and show people, you know, here's Sangiovese from 3 different vineyards across Arizona, or here's Cab Sauv from 3 different vineyards or 4 different vineyards.
Like most tasting rooms, they serve wine flights or by the glass. You can sit on the patio or enjoy the inviting living room setting.
I'd been into a lot of tasting rooms in my life that made me feel uncomfortable and want to hug a wall. And that was the only thing that really we intended, is to try to make a warm, engaging space where people came in and wanted to relax and drink some wine.
Chris says guests will find that their wines stand out, not just because of the distinctive labels that she draws, but because of their balance and because of Joe's creativity at developing depths of flavors.
If you're a person who likes to think and you want to get lost in wine, his wines are really good to get lost in.
Subscribe to Arizona Highways Magazine. 1 full year, 12 issues, is just $18. That's $6 less than the regular price. Visit ArizonaHighways.com, click on subscribe, and use promo code SPECIAL.
Clarkdale is definitely on the map. The way I look at Clarkdale is we're perfectly centered, 10 minutes from Jerome. Cottonwood's 3 miles away, Sedona's 20 minutes.
Clarkdale is the perfect 3-day getaway, but you'll probably have to make multiple 3-day trips just to fit it all in.
We have so many different things to offer. We've got a museum that has Dead Sea Scrolls in it. We've got Tuesday Good and of course the train. They have a kayak trip that you can book.
And it's just a quick trip to the put-in, and it is, you know, a 2.5-hour excursion, and you get to feel like you're in the middle of nowhere when really you're very close to a lot of amenities.
The Verde River is just half a mile away from Main Street, where you'll discover an authentic French cafe, award-winning wineries and tasting rooms, and an up-and-coming craft beer scene.
The all-American town right here in Arizona.
And you can now stay in the heart of it all at a boutique hotel full of historic character and modern amenities.
Come to Clarkdale and just breathe a little bit and slow down.
It's just a great place to come. If you want to get away and relax and not be in the hustle and bustle, it's perfect.